Chancellor Vorn stood in the empty Galactic Council chamber. Around him, 848 seats formed a perfect circle. Each seat represented one species, one civilization, one voice in galactic affairs, but one seat was different. Seat number 849, it was empty, covered in dust, untouched for 500 years. Earth's seat. Vorn stared at it, wondering. Not for the first time. He had asked this question for his entire career. Why didn't humans come? Why did they refuse the greatest honor in the galaxy? Every species wanted a council seat. Wars were fought for this privilege. Civilizations spent centuries proving they were worthy. But Earth? Earth was invited. Earth was welcomed. Earth said no. 500 years ago, the Council discovered humanity. They were impressed. Humans had space travel, advanced technology, complex society. They met all requirements for Council membership. The Council sent a formal invitation. A massive ceremony was prepared. Dignitaries from 846 species attended. Everyone wanted to meet the new species. To welcome them into galactic civilization, Earth sent one representative, a human named Ambassador Williams, an elderly woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She arrived in a simple ship. No guards, no ceremony. Just her. Vorn remembered that day. He was young then, just starting his career, but he never forgot what happened. Williams stood before the entire council, thousands of aliens watching, waiting for her to accept membership, to take Earth's designated seat, to join galactic society. Instead, she gave a speech. "Thank you for this invitation," Williams said. Her voice was calm, steady. "We appreciate the honor, but Earth must decline." Silence filled the chamber. No one had ever refused council membership before. Ever. The High Chancellor at that time, an ancient being named Cross, spoke. "Ambassador Williams, perhaps you misunderstand. Council membership is the highest achievement in the galaxy. Why would you refuse?" Williams smiled slightly. "Because council membership requires submission to council law, obedience to council decisions, and humanity bows to no one." "You would choose isolation over cooperation?" Cross asked. "We choose freedom over membership. We'll trade with you, talk with you, even ally with you, but we won't kneel to your authority. We don't ask you to kneel, just to follow council law like everyone else. Following your law means accepting your authority, and humans don't accept authority. We didn't choose ourselves." Cross was confused, angry, insulted. Every civilized species in the galaxy is part of this council. "You're saying you're above us?" "No, we're saying we're separate from you. We'll govern ourselves, make our own laws, choose our own path. That's foolish. Dangerous. Species that refuse the council invite chaos." Williams' expression didn't change. "Then we invite chaos, but we remain free." She turned and walked out, left the ceremony, left the seat empty, left the entire galaxy confused. That was 500 years ago. The seat had been empty ever since. Now Vorn was the High Chancellor, and the empty seat bothered him more than ever. Because humanity had thrived without the Council. They built a vast civilization, explored hundreds of star systems, developed incredible technology, all without bowing to anyone. Other Council members noticed. "Why are humans successful without us?" They asked. "Why don't they need the Council?" Vorn had no answer. Trade with Earth was complicated. Humans negotiated as equals, never as subordinates. They made deals that benefited them, refused deals that didn't. Other species had to respect their wishes or get nothing. It was frustrating. Every other species followed council trade regulations, but not humans. They made their own rules. "Why do we allow this?" Ambassador Throck complained. He represented the Vrax Collective, a proud military species. "Earth should submit like everyone else." "We can't force them," Vorn replied. "Why not? We have the entire council, hundreds of species, millions of ships. Earth is just one planet that has never lost a war." That was true. Several species had tried to force Earth into submission over the centuries. All failed. Human military tactics were strange, unpredictable, effective. They didn't fight like other species. They improvised, adapted, survived. "Perhaps it's time to demand their presence," Throck suggested. "Stop asking. Start requiring. Make it a galactic law. All advanced species must join the council." Other council members agreed. They were tired of human independence, tired of one species standing apart, tired of the empty seat mocking them. Vorn hesitated. Something felt wrong about this. Humanity had been peaceful for 5 centuries. They traded fairly, helped in crises, caused no real problems. Why force them now? But the council voted. 47 species in favor, 0 against. The law was passed. All advanced civilizations must join the Galactic Council within 1 standard year. Refusal will result in economic sanctions and military intervention if necessary. The law was sent to Earth, along with an ultimatum: join or face consequences. Vorn waited for Earth's response. He expected negotiation, maybe compromise. Perhaps humans would finally accept membership to avoid conflict. Instead, Earth sent a simple message. 3 sentences. Nothing more. We received your law. We do not recognize your authority to make laws for Earth. The seat will remain empty. The council chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in anger, demanded action, called for military force. They dare refuse a direct order. Throck roared. This is an insult to every species in the galaxy. Perhaps we should reconsider, Vorn said carefully. Humanity has never threatened us. Why provoke them? Because they must learn their place. Below the council. Like everyone else. The council voted again, this time for military action. Economic sanctions weren't enough. Earth would be forced to submit. A fleet was assembled. 500 warships from 20 different species, led by Commander Throck himself. They would go to Earth, deliver the ultimatum in person, and if humans still refused, they would be conquered, forced to join. Made to bow. This is a mistake, Vorn whispered. But no one listened. The fleet departed, heading toward Earth, toward humanity, toward the species that had refused to kneel for 500 years. Vorn stayed in the council chamber, staring at the empty seat, wondering why it made him so nervous. In 1 week, the fleet would reach Earth. In 1 week, humans would be forced to submit. In 1 week, that seat would finally be filled, or so the council believed. But Vorn remembered Ambassador Williams, remembered her calm voice, her steady eyes, her final words before leaving. Humanity bows to no one. Not a threat, not a boast. Just a simple fact, and Vorn had a terrible feeling. The galaxy was about to remember why that fact mattered, why that seat stayed empty, why humans never joined, not because they weren't worthy, but because they refused to serve, and species that refuse to serve cannot be forced. They can only be destroyed. Or respected. The council had chosen destruction. Vorn feared they had chosen wrong. 7 days until the fleet arrived at Earth. 7 days until the galaxy learned the price of demanding submission from those who would never give it. The empty seat waited, silent, dusty, patient. It had waited 500 years. It would wait forever if needed, because humans don't fill seats in chambers where they must bow. They build their own chambers, make their own seats, create their own councils. Free people don't join systems built on submission. They build systems built on choice, and humanity had made their choice 5 centuries ago. That choice hadn't changed. Wouldn't change. Would never change. The council was about to learn that lesson. The hard way. Vorn looked at the empty seat one last time before leaving the chamber. He whispered to the dust-covered chair, "I'm sorry. I tried to stop this." The seat, of course, didn't answer. It just remained empty, waiting, silent, eternal, a monument to freedom. A reminder that some species would rather stand alone than kneel together. And in 7 days, the galaxy would remember why. Commander Throck stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Fist. Around him in space floated 500 warships, 20 different species, all united with one purpose: make humanity submit. How long until we reach Earth? Throck asked. 7 days, Commander, his navigator replied. 7 days. Then this would be over. Humans would finally learn their place, below the council. Like everyone else, Throck had studied human history. They were warriors, yes, but so were the Vrax. So were a dozen other council species. Humans weren't special, they were just stubborn. Send a message to Earth, Throck ordered. Inform them we're coming. Give them one last chance to surrender peacefully. The message was sent. It was simple, direct, clear. This is Commander Throck of the Galactic Council Fleet. We are 7 days from Earth. You have 7 days to accept council membership. Submit peacefully or we will force submission. Choose wisely. The response came 6 hours later. Throck expected fear, maybe negotiation, perhaps desperate pleading. Instead, a human appeared on screen. A woman in military uniform, middle-aged, calm. She wore the rank of general. "This is General Sarah Martinez, Earth Defense Command. We received your message, Commander Throck." "Then you'll surrender?" Throck asked hopefully. "No. We're informing you that you have 7 days to turn your fleet around. After that, we cannot guarantee your safety." Throck laughed. His bridge crew laughed with him. "You threaten us?" "We have 500 warships." "We know, we counted them. 500 ships, 20 species, approximately 2 million personnel total." Martinez's expression didn't change. "We've been preparing for this moment for 500 years, since the day we refused your seat." "Preparing what? You think you can defeat the combined might of the Council?" "We don't think, Commander, we know. Because you made one critical mistake. And what mistake?" "You assumed an empty seat meant weakness. It meant the opposite. We stayed out of your council because we refused to limit ourselves to your rules, your tactics, your thinking." Bold words from one planet facing 500 warships. Not just one planet, Commander. Earth has colonized 200 systems in 500 years. We didn't need council permission. Didn't need council approval. We expanded freely. Built freely. Armed freely. Throck felt his first tremor of doubt. 200 systems? That was more than most council species controlled. And they did it independently? "Even with 200 systems, you cannot match our combined fleet," Throck said, trying to sound confident. Martinez smiled slightly. "You're right. We can't match your fleet. We can exceed it. You have 500 warships. We have 3,000. You have 20 species working together. We have one species working as one. No committees. No voting, no delays. Just unified purpose. You're bluffing. We're stating facts. But you'll see for yourself in 7 days. I'm giving you the same choice you gave us. Turn around now or face consequences." "We will not turn around." "Then we'll see you in 7 days, Commander. Earth will be waiting." The transmission ended. Throck stared at the blank screen. His confidence wavered. But he couldn't turn back now. The entire council was watching. 20 species depended on him. "She's lying," his second officer said. "No way humans have 3,000 warships. Send scouts ahead. I want confirmation of their military strength." 3 scout ships jumped ahead. They would reach Earth in 2 days. "Report back on human defenses." Then Throck would know the truth. 2 days later, only 1 scout ship returned. The other 2 were destroyed. "What happened?" Throck demanded. The surviving scout captain looked shaken. "Commander, the humans weren't lying. Their defenses are extensive. We counted over 4,000 warships, and that's just what we could see. They have orbital platforms, defense satellites, weapons we've never seen before. 4,000 ships? That's impossible! Where did they get the resources?" "They've been building for 500 years, sir. Without council regulations limiting their military spending. Without council laws restricting weapon development. They built freely." Throck felt cold fear settle in his chest. "What about the 2 ships we lost? Destroyed by automated defense systems. We never even saw a human pilot. Their defenses engaged automatically. The bridge went silent. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Maybe this was a mistake. We should contact Chancellor Vorn," the second officer suggested. "Request more ships." "No," Throck shouted. "We're not retreating. We're not asking for help. We'll proceed as planned." But doubt gnawed at him. 4,000 human warships. Against his 500. Those weren't good odds. 5 days until they reached Earth. 5 days to figure out a strategy. 5 days to prove the Council was stronger than one independent species. On Earth, General Martinez stood in the war room, surrounded by screens showing the approaching fleet. Officers from every branch of military present. "Status?" Martinez asked. "Enemy fleet maintaining course. Arrival in 5 days. No signs of retreat. Good, are our defenses ready? All 4,000 warships in position. Orbital platforms armed. Defense grids active. Automated systems online. What about the surprise?" A younger officer smiled. "The surprise is ready, General." "They won't see it coming," Martinez nodded. 500 years ago, Ambassador Williams walked away from that council seat. Walked away knowing this day might come. Knowing the galaxy might one day demand submission by force. So Earth prepared, built, expanded, armed, not out of aggression, out of necessity, because free people must always be ready to defend their freedom. "They think we're just one stubborn planet," Martinez said. "They're about to learn we're an entire civilization, united, prepared, and unwilling to kneel. She looked at Earth through the window. Beautiful, blue, home, worth fighting for. Worth dying for, but more importantly, worth remaining free for. 5 days until they arrive. Make sure everything is ready. No mistakes, no mercy. They came here to make us bow. We're going to teach them why humans stand. The officers saluted and returned to their duties. Martinez stayed at the window, thinking about that empty seat. That dusty chair in the council chamber. It stayed empty because humans valued freedom over membership. Independence over acceptance. Choice over obligation. And in 5 days, the galaxy would remember why that mattered. Why some species can't be conquered, can't be forced, can't be made to submit. Because submission requires fear. And humans had stopped fearing the galaxy 500 years ago. They had started preparing instead. Across space, Throck's fleet continued toward Earth. 500 ships, confident, powerful, united, but already doomed. They just didn't know it yet. Because they were flying toward a species that had refused to kneel for 5 centuries. A species that built an empire while others built bureaucracies. A species that valued freedom more than peace. And when you force free people to choose between submission and war, they always choose war. Always. Without hesitation. Without doubt. Without mercy. Earth had made that choice 500 years ago. The empty seat was proof. A warning written in absence. A message carved in dust. We bow to no one. Not a threat. Not a boast. Just a promise. A promise humanity was about to keep. 4 days until the fleet arrived. 4 days until Commander Throck learned the most important lesson in galactic history. You can't force submission from those who choose death over chains. You can only join them in choosing death, and Throck had chosen. For himself. For his fleet. For every species that thought 500 warships could break 500 years of human resolve. They were wrong, so very wrong. And soon they would know it. The empty seat waited in the council chamber. Still empty. Still dusty, still silent. It would remain empty after this battle. Empty forever. Because humans don't fill seats in systems that demand they kneel. They create their own seats, build their own systems, make their own rules, and defend those rules with everything they have. In 4 days, the galaxy would remember, would understand, would finally learn why that chair stayed empty all those years, not from weakness, from strength. The strength to stand alone, the strength to refuse submission, the strength to say no to the entire galaxy, and mean it. 3 days before the fleet reached Earth, Commander Throck received an unexpected message. Not from Earth, from Chancellor Vorn. Commander, I need to speak with you privately. Throck opened a secure channel. Vorn appeared on screen looking worried, tired, old. Chancellor, is something wrong? Yes, this entire mission is wrong. I've been researching human history. You need to turn back. Turn back? We're 3 days from Earth. The entire council is watching. I don't care. Listen to me, Throck. I found something in the old records. From 500 years ago. Vorn pulled up ancient files. Documents from humanity's first contact with the galaxy. When Ambassador Williams refused our seat, she gave a speech. We all heard it. But there was a second part. A private conversation with Chancellor Cross. It was classified. Hidden in the archives. What did it say? Vorn played an audio recording. Ambassador Williams' voice came through speaking to Cross. Chancellor, I need you to understand something. We're refusing your seat not because we disrespect you, but because we learned a hard lesson in our history. What lesson? Cross asked. That power structures always demand submission, always require obedience. And obedience, no matter how reasonable it seems, always leads to tyranny eventually. Maybe not today. Maybe not in 1,000 years. But eventually, the council isn't tyrannical. Not yet. But you could be. Any system that demands submission has the seeds of tyranny. So we refuse. Not just for us, but for our children, our children's children, forever. You'd rather be alone than protected? We'd rather be free than safe. Freedom is worth any price. Even death. You'd die for this principle? Every human would. Without hesitation. That's why we're refusing. Not because we're arrogant. Because we're certain. And when humanity is certain about something, we don't compromise. We don't negotiate. We stand our ground. The recording ended. Throck stared at the screen. That was 500 years ago. People change. Not humans, Vorn said. I've studied their entire history. For 10,000 years, humans fought against tyranny. Kings, emperors, dictators, conquerors. Every time someone tried to rule them by force, they resisted. Sometimes they lost. But they always fought, always. So what? We're stronger than any human tyrant was, are we? Their tyrants had armies too, had weapons, had power. Humans defeated them all eventually. Do you know why? Why? Chancellor, I need you to understand something. We're refusing your seat not because we disrespect you, but because we learned a hard lesson in our history. What lesson? Cross asked. That power structures always demand submission, always require obedience. And obedience, no matter how reasonable it seems, always leads to tyranny eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not in 1,000 years, but eventually. The Council isn't tyrannical. Not yet. But you could be. Any system that demands submission has the seeds of tyranny. So we refuse. Not just for us, but for our children, our children's children, forever. You'd rather be alone than protected? We'd rather be free than safe. Freedom is worth any price, even death. You'd die for this principle? Every human would. Without hesitation, that's why we're refusing. Not because we're arrogant. Because we're certain, and when humanity is certain about something, we don't compromise. We don't negotiate. We stand our ground. The recording ended. Throck stared at the screen. That was 500 years ago. People change, not humans, Vorn said. I've studied their entire history. For 10,000 years, humans fought against tyranny. Kings, emperors, dictators, conquerors. Every time someone tried to rule them by force, they resisted. Sometimes they lost, but they always fought, always. So what? We're stronger than any human tyrant was, are we? Their tyrants had armies too, had weapons, had power. Humans defeated them all eventually. Do you know why? Why? Because humans would rather die free than live as slaves. It's not a saying to them. It's a fundamental truth. You can kill every human in the galaxy, and the last one dying will still refuse to bow. Throck felt uncertainty growing, but he pushed it down. We're too close to turn back now, Chancellor. Then you doom your fleet. And perhaps the entire Council. What do you mean? If you attack Earth and lose, you prove the Council is weak. Other species will question our authority, maybe refuse membership like humans did. The entire galactic order could collapse. We won't lose. We have 500 ships, and they have 500 years of preparation. Throck, please. Turn back, offer peace. Find another way. Throck ended the transmission. He couldn't turn back. His pride wouldn't allow it. His honor wouldn't allow it. The Council's reputation depended on this mission succeeding. 2 days before reaching Earth, Throck tried negotiation one more time. General Martinez, I offer you new terms. You don't have to join the Council fully. Just accept associate membership. Keep your independence mostly. Just acknowledge Council authority in major galactic matters. Martinez appeared on screen. Her expression was stone. No. That's it? Just no? I'm offering you compromise. You're offering partial submission. We reject submission in all forms. Complete or partial. Doesn't matter. Why are you so stubborn? Because we understand something the Council doesn't. Submission is like a disease. It starts small. Just a little here. A little there. Then it spreads. Before you know it, you've lost everything that matters. This isn't about philosophy. This is about galactic order. Your order, not ours. We have our own order, our own rules, our own way, and we're keeping it. Even if it means war, especially if it means war. Because war is temporary. Submission is forever. You'd sacrifice millions of lives for pride. Martinez leaned forward. Her eyes blazed. Not pride, principle. Our ancestors fought and died for freedom. We won't dishonor them by surrendering what they bled for. You're insane. No, we're free. There's a difference. And in 2 days you'll understand that difference personally. The transmission ended. Throck slammed his fist on the console. His officers stood silently. No one knew what to say. 1 day before reaching Earth, the fleet detected something strange. Space itself was different ahead. Energy readings fluctuated wildly. What is that? Throck asked. His science officer checked the sensors. Sir, it's some kind of defensive perimeter. A line in space. I've never seen technology like this. Can we cross it? Unknown, but there's a message beacon broadcasting at the line. Play it. General Martinez's voice filled the bridge. But this wasn't a live transmission. This was recorded. Left here like a signpost. Commander Throck, you've reached the line. This is your final warning. Cross this line and you cross into war. Real war. Not the Council's version of war where battles are regulated and casualties are minimized. Human war, totalvar, the kind of war where we don't stop until we win or we're dead. We've marked this line in space. Everyone can see it. Your fleet, your council, everyone watching. If you cross it, you can't claim ignorance. Can't claim you weren't warned. You'll be choosing war deliberately, and will respond accordingly. You have 24 hours to decide. Cross the line or turn back. Submit to our sovereignty or we submit to your destruction. Your choice, the message ended. Throck stared at the view screen. Ahead, a glowing line stretched across space. Visible. Undeniable. A boundary between peace and war. His second officer spoke quietly. Sir, we should contact the council. Ask for instructions. No, we make this decision ourselves, but what decision? Cross the line and face possible defeat? Or turn back and face certain humiliation? Throck thought about everything. The empty seat. The warnings. Williams's ancient words. Martinez's unwavering stance. Then he thought about his pride, his duty, his belief that the council must be supreme. Prepare to cross the line, he ordered. In 24 hours we finish this. His officers obeyed. But Throck saw doubt in their eyes, felt doubt in his own heart. On Earth, Martinez watched the fleet approaching the line. It hung in space like a glowing thread. Beautiful, terrible, final. They're going to cross it, her tactical officer said. I know. Are we really going to do this? Totalva? Martinez nodded slowly. Yes, because if we back down now, we prove the council right. Prove that threats work. Prove that submission is inevitable. So we fight. So we fight. Not for conquest. Not for pride. For the principle that some things are worth dying for, and freedom is at the top of that list. She looked at Earth through the window. Home. Worth protecting. Worth fighting for. Worth remaining free for. When they cross that line, we show them what humans really are. Not pets, not subjects. Not servants. Warriors. Free warriors who chose this fight deliberately. The tactical officer saluted. Orders, General? Wait until they cross. The moment they do, we show them why that seat stayed empty, why humans never bowed, why we never will. 24 hours until Commander Throck made his choice. 24 hours until the galaxy learned whether human freedom was a principle or a bluff. 24 hours until war. The line waited, glowing, patient, marking the point of no return. Cross it, and nothing would be the same. For the Council, for humanity, for the galaxy. But some lines must be drawn, some stands must be taken, some prices must be paid. And humanity had drawn their line 500 years ago. Now they would defend it with everything they had, until the last ship, the last soldier, the last breath. Because that's what free people do. They draw lines. They defend them. They die on them if necessary, but they never ever cross back. Never retreat from freedom once it's claimed. Never submit once they've learned to stand. The line glowed brighter. Waiting, challenging, daring. Cross me, it said. See what happens. And Commander Throck, proud and stubborn and dutiful, was about to find out. Commander Throck stood on his bridge, staring at the glowing line in space. 24 hours had passed. His fleet waited behind him. 500 warships, silent, ready. All ships report ready, Commander, his tactical officer said. Throck took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would define his career. His legacy. Perhaps galactic history itself. Send one final message to Earth, tell them we're crossing. Tell them to surrender now or face destruction. The message was sent. They waited for a response. General Martinez appeared on screen. She stood in Earth's command center. Behind her, officers worked at stations, calm, prepared. No panic. No fear. Commander Throck, you're really going to do this? You leave me no choice. Surrender or we cross. We gave you a choice 24 hours ago. Turn back, you refused. I have my duty. The Council's authority must be maintained. Martinez smiled sadly. And we have ours. Human freedom must be defended. So here we are. Two duties. Two principles. About to collide. It doesn't have to be this way. Yes, it does. Because if we submit to your threat, we teach our children that freedom has a price limit. That principles can be abandoned when threatened. We won't do that. Can't do that. Then you doom your people. No, Commander. You doom yours. We're defending our home. You're attacking someone else's. History isn't kind to invaders. History is written by victors. Exactly. And we intend to win. Throck felt cold certainty settle over him. There would be no compromise. No last-minute peace. Just war. Very well, General. We cross the line now. May the strongest prevail. We already have, Commander. You just don't know it yet. The transmission ended. Throck turned to his fleet. All ships advance across the line. Engage any human forces that resist. The massive fleet moved forward. 500 warships, the largest battle fleet ever assembled by the Council. Engines blazing. Weapons armed, shields raised. They reached the glowing line. Crossing now, the navigator announced. The flagship passed through. Nothing happened. No immediate attack. No defense systems activating. Just empty space on the other side. Sensors clear, the tactical officer reported. No enemy ships detected. One by one, all 500 ships crossed the line. Still nothing. The human defenses remained silent. Where are they? Throck demanded. Sensors showed thousands of ships. Where did they go? Unknown, sir. Space appears empty. Then a voice came over every communication channel simultaneously. Not just Throck's ship. Every ship in the fleet. Every frequency. Every system. General Martinez's voice, calm, final. You crossed the line, Commander Throck. You chose war. Very well. Welcome to human space. You're all going to die here, Throck laughed. Empty threats. Where are your ships? Where are your defenses? All around you. You just can't see them yet. Then space itself changed. Stars disappeared. Not all of them. Just specific ones. And in their place, massive structures appeared. Thousands of them, surrounding the entire fleet, stealth platforms. The tactical officer screamed. They were cloaked. We flew right into a trap. Throck stared in horror. His fleet was in the center of a perfect sphere. Human orbital platforms on every side, above, below, forward, behind, everywhere. How many? Throck whispered, counting. 5,000 platforms. All armed, all targeting us, 5,000. Against his 500 ships. 10-to-1 odds, but worse than that, they had perfect positioning. All ships, defensive formation. Prepare for... He never finished the sentence. The platforms opened fire, but not with normal weapons. These were different. Throck had never seen anything like them. Beams of pure energy. No plasma, no projectiles. Just concentrated light that moved at light speed, impossible to dodge. Impossible to defend against. They just hit. Instantly. The first wave destroyed 50 ships. Just gone in 1 second. Shields didn't help. Armor didn't matter. The beams punched through everything. Return fire, Throck ordered desperately. His fleet fired back. Plasma cannons, missiles, energy weapons, everything they had. But the human platforms absorbed it all. Their shields were incredibly strong. Far beyond normal technology. How are their shields so powerful? His science officer gasped. Because we've had 500 years to develop them, Martinez's voice answered over the communication channel. While you followed council regulations limiting military research, we researched freely. Advanced freely. Built freely. Another wave of beams. 50 more ships destroyed. Throck's fleet was being cut apart. Retreat. Throck ordered. All ships back across the line. But as his ships turned, they discovered something terrible. The line wasn't just a boundary. It was a trap. Behind them, more platforms appeared. They had been cloaked too. The entire fleet was boxed in. We're surrounded completely, the tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. No escape route. Throck felt despair. True despair. He had led his fleet into a perfect ambush. They were all going to die here. Commander, Martinez's voice came again. I'm going to give you one chance. One. Order your fleet to power down weapons and surrender. We'll take you prisoner. You'll live. Never. The council doesn't surrender. Then the council dies. Your choice. Throck looked at his bridge crew. Young officers. Good people. They trusted him. Followed him. And he had led them into this nightmare. Another wave of fire. 70 ships destroyed this time. Less than 400 remained. His second officer grabbed his arm. Sir, we have to surrender. We can't win this. We can fight. We can die pointlessly. Or we can live and warn the council. Tell them the truth. That humans aren't weak. They're the strongest military force in the galaxy. Throck wanted to refuse. Wanted to fight to the last ship. But he looked at the casualty reports. 150 ships destroyed in 5 minutes. At this rate, his entire fleet would be gone in 15 more minutes. General Martinez, he said quietly. I request terms of surrender. Silence for a moment. Then Martinez responded. Power down all weapons, lower all shields. Remain in formation. Any ship that tries to run will be destroyed immediately. Understood? Understood. Throck gave the orders. Across his fleet, weapons powered down. Shields dropped. 500 warships, now less than 400, sitting helpless in space. Then human ships appeared. Real ships, not just platforms. Thousands of them, sleek, fast, advanced. They surrounded the Council fleet completely. Boarding parties transferred to every ship. Human soldiers. Armed, armored, professional. They took command of each vessel without resistance. On Throck's bridge, human soldiers entered. Their leader removed her helmet. A young woman. Lieutenant based on her insignia. Commander Throck, you're under arrest for invasion of sovereign territory. Come with us. Throck stood slowly. Defeated. Humiliated. But alive. As soldiers led him away, he looked back at his bridge. His beautiful ship. His proud fleet. All captured. All beaten. Not by superior numbers. Not by better weapons. But by superior preparation. Superior strategy. Superior will. Humans had spent 500 years preparing for this moment. While the Council debated and regulated and politicked, Earth built and armed and planned. And when the moment came, humans didn't hesitate. Didn't negotiate. Just fought with perfect tactics. Perfect technology. Perfect resolve. Throck was taken to a human prison ship. Clean, efficient, not cruel but definitely secure. Through a window he could see his fleet. All 400 surviving ships captured prisoners he had failed. Failed his mission, failed his council, failed his people. But worse than that, he had proven the council wrong. Proven that you can't force submission from those who refuse to give it. That some species can't be conquered. Can't be threatened. Can't be made to bow. General Martinez's face appeared on a screen in his cell. Commander, I'm having you and your crews transferred to a neutral station. You'll be released unharmed. Sent home. Why not kill us? We invaded you. Because we're not conquerors. We're defenders. We fight when we must. Show mercy when we can. The Council won't accept this defeat. Then the Council will learn the same lesson you just did. Human freedom isn't negotiable. Not for peace. Not for membership. Not for survival. We'd rather die free than live as subjects. You're insane. No, we're human. There's a difference. Martinez leaned forward. Go home, Commander. Tell your council what happened here. Tell them why that seat stays empty. Tell them humanity bows to no one, not now. Not ever. The screen went dark. Throck sat in his cell thinking about the empty seat. Finally understanding, it wasn't empty because humans were too primitive to join. It was empty because humans were too proud to submit. And pride backed by power is an unstoppable force. The battle was over. Earth had won. Not just militarily, but philosophically. They proved that independence was possible, that freedom could be defended. That submission wasn't inevitable. The empty seat would remain empty, forever, because humans had drawn their line, defended it, won, and the galaxy would never forget. 3 weeks after the battle, Chancellor Vorn stood before the full Galactic Council. The chamber was silent, tense, waiting. Every species had seen the reports, watched the recordings, knew what happened at Earth. 500 warships defeated, 400 captured, 100 destroyed. Commander Throck and his entire fleet humiliated. And Earth, not a single ship lost, not one casualty. A perfect victory. The Council demands an explanation, Ambassador Drek said. He represented the Korthan Empire, a proud military species. How did humans defeat our fleet so easily? Vorn pulled up the battle analysis. Every council member had already seen it, but seeing it again made it worse. They used stealth technology we didn't know existed, positioned 5,000 orbital platforms around their system, all hidden until our fleet crossed their boundary line. Then they activated simultaneously. Perfect ambush. Where did they get such technology? Another ambassador asked. They developed it. Over 500 years. While we followed council regulations limiting military research, they researched freely. That's illegal. Council law restricts weapons development. Earth isn't part of the council, Vorn said quietly. They're not bound by our laws. Never were. Silence. Every ambassador understood the implication. By refusing council membership, humanity had avoided all restrictions. Built freely, armed freely, advanced freely. While council species followed regulations, Earth broke every rule and became the most powerful military force in the galaxy because of it. We must retaliate, Drex insisted. Gather a larger fleet. 10,000 ships. 20,000. Crush them. With what? Vorn asked tiredly. We sent our best fleet, it failed. If we send more ships, the same thing happens. More defeats. More humiliation. More proof that humans can't be conquered. Then what do you suggest?
We accept this insult?
Vorn looked around the chamber, at the empty seat. That dusty chair that had mocked them for 5 centuries. I suggest we do what we should have done 500 years ago, except that some species don't want membership. Leave them alone. Unacceptable, multiple ambassadors shouted.